Have you ever wondered how agents are able to sell a castle? What about a $27 million castle? We were able to sit down with Olivier Mevellec, luxury agent, and he tells us about how he was able to sell a $27 million castle simply by using his Global Elite certification and Global Elite network. Watch Olivier's story now. How did you get into luxury real estate?
Well, it's I had an amazing background. Obviously, I used to play golf for a living on the European PGA Tour, and I had a strong database of very affluent clients. And I've always thought that if I get into the real estate business, I would be able to connect to them real quick and ask for their business, which is really what you do in real estate. Somebody who wants to buy or sell real estate. And I quickly discovered that none of my clients actually would trust me with their properties because I was brand new in real estate. I didn't have that that credibility, and my perception was still the golf pro, but not the realtor on the luxury side of it. And so I came up with an idea. I had a friend of mine who was a realtor in Scottsdale, Arizona, and had a beautiful golf course listing for about $2 million. And my mother and I, at the time, with our attorney, already had all of the marketing agreements that we needed to create the connection between one to the other. So I contacted my friend and I explained to him that I had all the agreements for him to go to his seller and ask the authorization for the seller to give me the authorization to market his property into the Dallas, Texas market. And obviously, the seller was very excited about that because there was extra exposure. And so my first listing ever, after all the agreements went back and forth, was a $2 million golf course listing in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I took that listing as what I call a leverage listing, and I used it to showcase that listing to my clients that I had previously contacted. And it was very interesting because all of my clients instantly called me and said two things. Number one, they said, Olivier, we did not know that you did real estate outside of Dallas, Texas, because I had a Scottsdale listing, Scottsdale, Arizona. And then the second thing, which was the most important on how I got into the real estate luxury part of it, was that it gave me the credibility locally to go to these listing presentations in the luxury market, showcase to them that I had a $2 million golf course listing in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the last thing I would say to them after I was done with my listing presentation was simple as, if this seller in Scottsdale is trusting me, why can't you trust me when I live 15 minutes down the street?
Mm.
And that's how I created kind of a snowball effect into getting my foot into the luxury market by showcasing luxury listing in my portfolio to luxury sellers in my local market. And that really gave me the instant credibility that I was a luxury agent.
Fantastic. So you had spoken to the fact that you had sold a property, your first property being $2 million. What was the most expensive property that you had sold and the most extravagant?
Yes. So the most expensive was actually a castle in Scotland
Oh,
for
wow.
$27 million.
How did
And
you get such a listing, Olivier?
yeah, no, it's very unique, right? So here's when you get a unique listing like that, or really a property, castle, or it could be a hotel, it could be unique properties. Most agents we call luxury publications that we know of, right? Rob Report, DuPont, Unique Homes, and we spend a lot of money advertising that unique property into the magazine or the publications, but it never really procures the right kind of buyer. It's really, in my opinion, I was kind of like a glorified reception, right? People would call me and ask me all sorts of questions. So there's a process that has to go into it after when you start selling, these kind of properties as, letter of intent, proof of funds. You got to know your audience. You got to know who you're talking to. But then also, most importantly, you got to know where the buyers are coming from. right? Because it's not every day or everyone that's going to buy a castle, right? Or a ranch or a horse property or a very unique property in that kind of price range. So it takes obviously marketing. It's not about listing the property, it's about marketing the property to the right markets, to figuring out, as what I call, real estate migration patterns.
Well, my last question for you would be, and it may be a loaded question, what are some of the challenges that new agents or even existing agents, seasoned vets, would potentially face when looking into getting into luxury?
Absolutely, it's a great question, by the way, and a lot of agents always come up to me during seminars and say, "Hey, Olivier, I want my price per average has been $300, right? Or I mean, sorry, $300,000, right? And I want to get into the luxury, which could be 600, 700, a million. And I know that every luxury market depends on the area where you live in, right? I mean, that's very
Right.
obviously you in Vancouver, you understand that because it's higher than in most places.
Most certainly.
Absolutely. And so what I always tell agents is this: sellers who have luxury listings really will trust you as a luxury agent if you cannot show them that you have such listings in your portfolio or that you have sold or listed such listings.
Right.
Okay. So the Global Elite certification allows agents to tap into that market directly by contacting Global Elite members anywhere around the world who have luxury properties with the right agreements for them to be able to, again, market that luxury property in their local area, then follow the directions of the training to, what do I do with that luxury listing now that I have one? Well, you have to, again, kind of go through the training to understand how to utilize that the best way possible.